Right, this is, I guess, just a tiny little test just to make sure that the stream is up, and the stream is up. So what I'm going to say is, hello everybody and welcome back to MUFC MPB here on YouTube. My name is Anton Brooks, as you might have seen me before. Yes, I've been on a long hiatus. Is that how you say it? Hiatus or hiatus? But we are back with the 11 a.m. with myself, Anton. And then there will be another stream at, I believe, 7 p.m. with another presenter. I'm not going to introduce him yet. You'll just have to wait and see. Give him his own stage to introduce himself on, as I'm sure he would like. But yes, get ready for the Monday to Friday streams, 11 a.m. and then 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, as I just said. We are back. We are going to be back on the streaming, making sure that this is kept up to date as much as possible, keeping you all up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, especially with, obviously, Ruben Amorim just coming in and the January transfer window on the horizon. There are some very hot topics that we will be speaking about in today's stream, some of which you might like, some of which you might not like. Hello, what happened to the pretty boy? I don't know where he is. And hi, why? That is a name I recognize from when I was streaming before. But as I was saying, there are going to be names in this episode which you will be a fan of. Some which you think, I don't really want them at Manchester United. And I think there's going to be one or two who is going to get a lot of you quite excited. Because I'm definitely excited about some of the names that have been mentioned. I'm not sure where Alex is. I'm sure you guys have him on Twitter. Go and do tricks on him over there. But as per the title, it does say Gyökeres wants Manchester United move. That's all I'm going to say. If we manage to get Viktor Gyökeres at Manchester United, under obviously the same manager that he had at Sporting Lisbon, all I can say is that it's an instant upgrade on what we already have. I know Højlund, physically, in terms of the way he plays and the way I believe is his best way of playing, is kind of like a younger, raw, a more raw, unrefined version of Viktor Gyökeres. You've got someone, well, we'll speak about the sporting system under Amorim with Gyökeres for a second. Look at the types of goals he scores. Whether or not you watch the full 90 minutes of a Sporting game, whether or not you just watch their game in the Champions League, all you have to do to get a little bit more of an understanding on the way Gyökeres plays and excelled in that system at Sporting is just watch some of his highlights. Watch the goals he scores. He's not dribbling past 18 guys. He's not dropping into the midfield like Xerxes and trying to link play. He is the last pass. He is the last ball. He's either bullying defenders, running past them. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the City centre-back's name. I know the young centre-back. Something Pusey absolutely bullied him when Sporting played Manchester City. But it's more of getting the ball on the half turn, already in full flight. Not getting the ball with the back to goal, having to turn and then build up the acceleration and then dribble past someone. Viktor Gyökeres is always getting the ball in full flight. Or he's just scoring a simple tapping because the play's been well worked and there's an opportunity to drive the ball across the box for someone who's in the penalty area, like Gyökeres. There were some interesting comments from Ruben Amorim describing Xerxes after the game against Ipswich. Something along the lines of Xerxes has to learn, he has to get into the box. Someone who does that already is Højlund, but we just don't create the correct sort of opportunities for an in-the-box striker, which is why you probably find him trying to wrestle all the centre-backs all the time. With Gyökeres, not today, obviously, because we can't sign him today. It'll be a transfer more likely in the summer if it was to happen. With the time that we have between now and the summer, you'd think and hope that the style of play that Amorim implemented at Sporting will be here or very nearly on the way here at Manchester United, where it's a 3-4-3, very comfortable in possession, almost suffocating the opposition. You've got someone in the midfield, the ball-winning midfielder, very aggressive, just going to win the ball back and lay it off to whoever is next to him, Garte. And then you have a more like a playmaker, deep-lying playmaker. In Sporting, that was Morita. In Manchester United, that could be Kobbie Mainoo. You have two of those in the midfield who actually can complement each other very well. Ahead of those, you have the two attacking midfielders or the two attacking playmakers, whether you want to call them left or right wingers. I don't really care. But that could be a Bruno Fernandes, an Ahmad, a Mason Mount. If we were to bring someone else in, I'm not sure. And then you have the wing backs. I'll talk about the wing backs in a second because that is another transfer theory we will be looking at. And I've seen a couple of your comments, and I'll bring them up when we do talk about the left wing back position. But Arafa Luminsa said, excited about Amorim. Nubis Kubis says, I'm not excited at all. What? I'm not excited at all as long as we still have Rashford and a few other players because Gyökeres won't get any service. And this is the thing. This is why, yeah, it's all good and well getting excited about Gyökeres transfer today. But one, it's not going to happen today. And two, I don't think it'll be very beneficial if it did happen today. You've got someone who probably is the most informed striker in Europe right now. I want to say he's either very close to a goal a game or is keeping up his average of 1 goal per game. It wouldn't make sense to bring him in now to Manchester United when we very clearly, after what we saw against Ipswich on Sunday, would be bringing him into a system that isn't fully there, that isn't as good as it will be and is currently at Sporting Lisbon. One, he gets less service. Two, strikers get confidence because they're scoring goals. Viktor Gyökeres, he's obviously a very, very good goal scorer and he's going to be as confident as hell at the moment. It wouldn't make sense to bring him in, almost purposely knock his confidence. It's all good and well saying, yeah, we're going to get there, it's going to be good soon, but it's not there right now. So we need to just be careful and be patient with that. Mustafa says, Gyökeres already on 32 plus goals and he's good at link-up play to Simpson Pusey. There we go. Simpson. I couldn't remember what the first barrel of the name was. Yes, why? We will be streaming daily, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. I won't be presenting the 7 p.m. show. It will be someone else. I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to wait for you to meet him later today. Don't want to steal his shine or anything. Bath Time, that is a name I recognise. Shout out, Anton. Nice to see you back again. Thank you. Evan Ferguson is another option. Brighton letting him leave on loan. I don't see why we would get Evan Ferguson on loan, if I'm totally honest. I know a couple of years ago he was the next thing, and rightly so. He was doing very, very well, but since then he's had quite a few injuries, and he isn't able to get into that Brighton team. Manchester United is Manchester United. Whether or not you agree that we're good or not at the moment, we're Manchester United. We should be going for strikers like Gyökeres, not the Evan Fergusons. We already have 1.5 Evan Fergusons. You've got, and by that I mean you have a very, very young striker with a very high potential. We've got Højlund. We've got Xerxes, who has a high potential, but he's not as young as Højlund. He's still relatively young. But I think at this point, we can't bring in another work in progress. We have to bring in someone who is firing on all cylinders right now. Because there is only so much you can do. With Manchester United, it always seemed to be we sign a toddler or we sign Zlatan, who's 55 years old. There was never the right balance. I think the last time we got it right but wrong in execution was Radamel Falcao. You've got, when we signed Falcao in 2015, I know it didn't work, but the intention I think was better than what it had previously been. You've got someone there who technically was just out of his prime, or where did we sign him from? We signed him from Monaco, I believe, on loan. He was at Atletico Madrid, obviously. I think he either got an injury and then went to Monaco, or went to Monaco and got an injury. And on the comeback from the injury, he was kind of hitting a little tiny bit of form again, and we picked him up. He was a decent age, but it just didn't work out. The intention was there. But other than that, we've been signing Cavani, who's... I still don't understand why everybody loved Cavani. He just played when he wanted to play. He was always in Uruguay, and he was quite old. We signed Zlatan, who was a hit, and then he got injured. Then we went Højlund. Then we went Xerxes. But obviously in the middle of that, you've got the Odion Igalo, the Wout Weghorst. Viktor Gyökeres, I think, would be a massive, massive indication as to the direction that Ineos are trying to push the club. Going for not the household name like Falcao or not the household name like Ibrahimovic, or not the attempted household names that are potentially gonna slow down in 1 or 2 years. You're signing a striker who's very clearly in his prime or about to hit his prime, already scoring the goals, ready for a progressive move from, you know, no offense to Sporting, but they aren't as big as a club as Manchester United. It just makes sense. Plus, we've got the manager that got him firing on all cylinders. I think it just makes sense. Hope Rashford is sold soon. And that's another thing which we will talk about in this episode, because I've got some conflicting opinions on this. And I think Mustafa might be right. I don't think Rashford suits Amorim's systems, lost his pace. Now, why would we take a lone player and help his development and send him back as a better player? I think it won't be as simple as that. I think if a club like Manchester United or Arsenal or whoever were to get a player like Evan Ferguson, I don't think it would just be like, let's take him for 6 months to send him back. I think there would, knowing how good of a player he already is and how good of a player he could potentially come, I think there would be some sort of clause. There would be a optional buy clause for X amount million. I don't think it would just be send him back to Brighton after 6 months and give them back a better player. What's the Davies update? Why? We will get onto that just next. The only sprint Rashford made in the match was for that goal. Didn't Ashworth sell Gyökeres to Coventry and replace him with Evan Ferguson at Brighton? I do believe he sold Gyökeres. He was involved in some sort of deal with Gyökeres, but remember, a few years ago, Gyökeres wasn't the Gyökeres he was today. So let's give Dan Ashworth some rope on that. Evan Ferguson and, to be fair, Danny Welbeck are far better than any option we have at centre forward currently. I would say yes and no. I would say yes because Welbeck, you know, he seems to be ageless. He's timeless. He's still one of the better strikers in the league. Evan Ferguson has the potential and the ceiling, but Brighton are playing in a system which actually works, and they haven't just changed their manager last week, and they are playing decent fluid football. They have a system that it fits them all, and they can get the best out of their players. Right now, whether we still have Ten Hag or not, we have a new manager, and we are trying to go from a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 to whatever Ten Hag was playing, to a 3-4-3. It might not seem like much of a difference, but when you're playing at the top level, there are different body movements, there are different positions you have to occupy. The natural instinct of, let's say, Diogo Dalot under Ten Hag was to slot into the midfield. Amorim labelled this after the match and said Diogo Dalot was used to going into the middle of the pitch. Sorry guys, I'm going to have to... I am ill. He was talking about how Diogo Dalot was having to go into the middle of the pitch, but now he's going to have to stick to his position, which was the left wing back role on Sunday. It's just all of those sorts of things which take time to adjust to, but I'm sure when we do adjust, it will be good. It'll be good to see. Mustafa brought up Chido. Chido Obi Martin is the youth striker that we signed from Arsenal. By the way, if you guys didn't know, is way ahead of his development. Can see him in the first team. Not yet. He needs to improve technically. Yes, finishing is good. Isolated finishing is good. Finishing against 17, 18-year-olds is good, but it's a whole different ball game when you're Chido Obi Martin. Ball gets driven into you and William Saliba is closing you down. It's different. It's a different ball game. But yeah, he will be in the first team. He technically is the first team's third choice striker. We were able to offer him first team opportunities and first team development and a clear pathway to the first team, whereas Arsenal weren't. That is why he did come and sign for us. It wasn't about the money or anything like that. Bath Time says, I'm not a massive Rashford fan, but he's the only forward that demonstrated he can score over 20 goals a season. This is the yes or no about Rashford. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's been reports of PSG potentially coming in for Rashford in January. If PSG came in for Rashford and made an official, genuine bid of around £70 million, would you take the 70? Would you sell Rashford on, or would you keep him? Because my opinion on Rashford is he is the club's best goal scorer. He's the top goal scorer at the club. He's, again, like Bath Time says, he's the only player that's demonstrated he can score consistently and he can score 20 plus goals a season, which is important for a club like Manchester United. However, on the other hand, the problems I have with Rashford are this only seems to happen when the system is tailored directly towards him. If Rashford is the main guy that's on the end of everything, that's getting the ball not next to the halfway line but 5 or 10 yards outside of the opposition 18-yard area on the counter, when he's feeling confident, when there's not 3 defenders to go past, then he is going to wrap it top bins. The quality is there. I just don't think the confidence is there enough for him to be able to replicate this season after season. And of course, it doesn't help when you have managers coming in, changing the way we play. It worked very well in Ten Hag's first season. I think he got 30-something goals when we won the Carabao Cup. He had that massive purple... I don't even think you can call it a purple patch when it lasted for a good few months. But the way that system works was Rashford was the main guy. He was the guy on the end of everything. And we played this sort of hybrid counter-attack, but not really counter-attack, regardless of Rashford was getting the ball in very, very appealing positions every single time. He wasn't having to travel from in his own half with the ball. Because think about it, if he's sprinting from 5 yards in his own half, by the time he gets to the 70th minute and he's outside the box, his legs are going to be wobbly. His legs are going to be jelly. That's what was happening with Rashford. But yeah, if we were to get 70 million, I'd sell him. And that's not because I don't like him. That's just because I think you could sell Rashford and you probably could go and get Gyökeres for that and have a little bit of change. Or if you didn't want to do that deal in the January, you could use that 70 million to improve in other places. You could go and get a backup centre-back. You could go and get the left wing-back. You could sign Alphonso Davies on a pre-contract, which is what we will speak about right now, by the way. According to Pletigo and Sky Sports Denmark, is that Sky Sports Denmark? I believe that is Sky Sports Denmark. I'm not very good with Nordic languages, but I believe that is a Danish Sky Sports. But breaking news, there are 3 names on Manchester United's list for a new left back / left wing back. Okay. This is where I think the stream gets a little bit interesting, because the left wing back role, if you guys play a lot of Football Manager, or if you happen to follow me on Twitter, you will see that I play Football Manager and I do utilize the 3-back formations, sometimes wing back, sometimes wide midfielders. But these are players which excite me a lot, because I think if you have a 3-back system, which Amorim wants to play, in my opinion, the most important players are the wing-back roles, because what they do is they help defend, help you be compact defensively, but when you're in attack, they also offer an outlet, and they are also one of the more important players in the attacking play that 3-back systems optimize. The 3 left-backs we have here are Milos Gyökeres, the Hungarian left-back who currently plays for Bournemouth. I think he's also been linked to Liverpool as well. The other one, in my opinion, is the best left-back in the world, Theo Hernandez, and I've said that for a few seasons now. AC Milan, vice-captain, I believe. I don't know if he's a World Cup winner. He's won the Serie A. You know what? You know Theo Hernandez. He's a bit of a unit. He's a rapid unit, someone who can carry the ball all game, every single game. He's a bit of a hothead, which I like. We need to get more players in that aren't actually scared of a fight. He does chip in with goals and assists, and he has a very good partnership with Rafael Leao on the left-hand side. But in my opinion, he'd be my first choice, but whether or not that's a deal we could fashion, I'm not sure. The last option, and as it says here, Davies is a desired candidate for United, and the interest is concrete, is Bayern Munich and Canadian left-back / left winger Alphonso Davies. Obviously, I'd have Hernandez first, and then I'd take Davies, and then I'd take Gyökeres. That's not to say Gyökeres is a bad choice or a bad defender. I just don't think he's probably ahead of Hernandez or Davies. With Davies and Hernandez, what you have there is 2 people who are extremely comfortable playing as a left midfielder. They are confident in front of goal, and they are confident defending their own goal. Not to mention they are both blessed with blistering pace, which is something which is very important, and they both have an engine. Off the top of my head, I'm probably wrong, and someone will probably correct me, but I can't remember any sort of massive injuries. I feel like Davies has had one. I feel like Davies has had one or two, but they have semi-decent injury records, which is something which we need to definitely be looking at when, potentially signing someone, because we do have terrible luck with injuries. Let me just read some of your comments. Bath Time says, I'm not a massive fan of Rashford, but he's only... Okay, let's read that one. Under Woodward, we'd go for the big names. Under Ineos, they tend to go for unknown. I don't think it's they tend to go for unknown. I just think it's they're making more informed and intelligent decisions. Yeah, because going out and getting Angel Di Maria, in theory, that's a very good choice. But look, money talks, innit? Money's going to talk to every club. If you offer a certain amount, a club isn't going to turn it down because they're thinking, oh, wow, we can... What? That much for this player? Sweet. Angel Di Maria never wanted to come to Manchester United. This is another thing. We sign players because we want them, and that's it. We don't think about, do they want to come to us? Does their family want to be here? Angel Di Maria never wanted to come to Manchester United. He came, obviously, and he played, in my opinion, he played well. 10 assists, double-figure assists, and chipped in with a few goals as well. Not sure why the fans hated him. He never wanted to come here. His wife never wanted to come here. When he left Real Madrid, he wanted to go to PSG. He wasn't silent about that. But we signed him anyway, not thinking about, oh, is this going to really be beneficial? Is this a 1 year, 2 year? What's going to happen? We don't seem to, or under Ed Woodward, when he was making these sorts of decisions, we never seemed to think about those things. It just seemed, oh yeah, Falcao, Ibra, Di Maria, let's just get them. I don't care what they think. Let's just get them. But under Ineos, it seems to... And I'm not surprised, but we seem to have a more measured approach. We're signing players that can benefit the system that the manager wants to implement. That's why we went and got Josh Zirkzee. That's why we went and got Rasmus Højlund, even though it didn't work under Ten Hag. We signed players that Ten Hag supposedly would have benefited from. It wouldn't have made sense for Ten Hag to go and get an Alphonso Davies or a Teo Hernandez. Do you know why? Because our fullbacks tuck in under Ten Hag. When have you ever seen Alphonso Davies play centre mid? When have you ever seen Teo Hernandez play centre mid? Now we've got a different manager who utilises a different formation. Players that were better under Ten Hag, like the Diogo Dalot, like the Christian Eriksen, like the Casemiro eventually, and sometimes not, like the Rashford. It might not be so good in this system, and that's fine. Because at the end of the day, we've got a manager in who's come in to... We've got the hottest prospect of a manager, 39 years old, one of the more sought-after managers in Europe, tipped to take over from Pep Guardiola. He's coming with a system and an idea, and he's going to stick to that system. Now what the club has to go and do is sign the players that we think will benefit that system and Ruben Amorim the most. And of course, in turn, bring silverware hopefully back to Manchester United. We've got a left back, we've got a right back, we've got Nusayr Mazraoui, who I believe will be starting every match. We've got Diogo Dalot, who a lot of people don't like, but a lot of people do like because they can see his qualities, but they might not work. So yeah, we are looking at a Teo Hernandez or an Alphonso Davies, who I think could come in and improve us drastically. Mustafa says Gyökeres is the best option out of Marmoush, Kolo Muani and Boniface. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. The thing that scares me about Gyökeres is Bastos. He scored 76 goals in around 85 games for Sporting. But the difference between Bastos and Viktor Gyökeres, one, is their style of play. Two, is the fact that the manager that got the best out of Gyökeres is now our manager. And he will be trying to, and eventually will be playing the same system which Gyökeres thrived in. I think that would be the biggest sell for Manchester United. I take 70 mil for any player at the club except for Kobe. Unpopular opinion, but I'd still hold out for more for Garnacho. I just feel like it's a confidence thing at the moment. If he's going to get the right stuff in his brain, I believe he could be one of the better wingers in the world football in about 5 or 6 years. I'll drive him to the airport. I'd take 70 million and replace him with Kvara. Yeah, I do want to speak about that as well, because that is something which I saw and did get actually quite excited about. I take Obi over Rashford any day of the week. Too soon. I think Rashford has no future under Amorim, but my main question is, can Garnacho play Amorim's system? Seems like he's becoming a bit selfish since the start of the season. I'm going to respond to that because I believe he can. I just don't believe he will be starting. I think for now, look, listen. A few years, I think it was 2021, I went to Old Trafford to watch the FA Youth Cup final, and I went to see a few players in particular. I went to see Gerardo, the right back, who doesn't play for United anymore. Big fan of him. Went to see Kobbie Mainoo, because who doesn't want to go and see Kobbie Mainoo? And I went to see Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho is still playing almost like he's playing with the youth team. What we have with Kobbie Mainoo is someone who is still playing like that, but in terms of his mental maturity, you can tell it's grown and he's progressed. His skills have translated into the senior game almost effortlessly. They've translated into the senior game, but with that, he's also learnt from a few mistakes that he's made. Garnacho is still such a raw talent. I think people forget how young he is. And I know, like, oh my God, stop talking about age. Like, if you're playing for the first team and then you're old enough, blah, blah, blah. But age is important because he hasn't grown mentally. He is selfish. He's a selfish player. The better players have to be selfish. Look, Ronaldo was very, very selfish. Messi was selfish. You don't score that many goals and you don't become that successful unless you're selfish. But what Garnacho needs to learn is that some players have to earn the selfishness. I don't think he's earned it yet. I'm glad we didn't give him the number 7. Because I think all of those added pressures, all of those added bonuses for not actually doing that much so far might hinder someone's progress. Look, I'll just compare him to Kobbie because they came through at the same time. Kobbie's still got the 37 on his back. Kobbie Mainoo, I just think he's a better player, and I think he's progressed better into the first team than Garnacho has. That doesn't mean that Garnacho is terrible. It just means that he needs to fully reach his potential, and he has a lot of room to grow. And I think I'll speak about this as well. The Planet Faz thing, idiot. I think he's a prick. I don't think it helps. A lot of these content creators online, they say they support Manchester United, or if they do support Manchester United, they support in completely the wrong way. It's not going to benefit anybody. It's not going to benefit Garnacho. It's not going to benefit the club or the fan base for Faz to put a camera in his face, say, improve your first touch, dude. What's the point? Because if he came around and boxed you in the mouth, now you're going to be crying and, oh, why is he doing that? Some people, Mike Tyson said it best, some people just haven't been punched in the mouth yet. And I think Planet Faz, along with a few others, do definitely need to be punched in the face, because it's not going to help anyone. You're not benefiting the team or anything like that. And I think because of the criticism that he so publicly gets and almost gets laughed about with, it's not going to help. Now everybody's jumping on this Garnacho's rubbish bandwagon. Garnacho needs to be... No, he doesn't need to be sold. He just needs to be nurtured. He needs to be dropped on the first team. He needs to be used as an impact sub. He needs to be showing that he needs to be balling out in training and balling out in the 25 half an hour he gets at the end of matches. He needs to show that he's making improvements with his decision making. He needs to show that he's being a bit less selfish and putting the ball on the plate for the actual striker, because Amorim's system is made so the striker, the spearhead of the team, is the one scoring all the goals. Yeah, obviously other players are going to score. Cool, everyone can score. But the main objective is to get the ball to the striker in his best position to score a goal as possible. Garnacho isn't providing that at the moment, and we saw that against Ipswich. There was a couple of times where, Rashford was playing as a central striker and Garnacho was playing in one of the supporting roles. Didn't play the ball. When he gets into a position where he can play the ball almost every time and it's actually a good pass and he's doing it because for it's benefited the team instead of just for himself, then yeah, we can talk about, is he good enough to be starting? If he's doing that and he's still actually not good enough, yeah, cool, fine. But for now, he's not good enough. He doesn't need to be publicly criticised and shamed by Planet Faz. He needs to be encouraged, and I think anybody with a brain would say that. I think Teo Davies is a tough choice. Personally, I take Teo Hernandez, but I really wouldn't be upset with any of them. I'd be very happy, but my personal preference is Teo Hernandez. Teo was a better player, but Davies is younger. Conclusion, we won't get either. 8 Nori or Gyökeres is more realistic. Yeah, 8 Nori is a name which we haven't mentioned today, but he's someone who I'd definitely be happy with. Was Teo part of the France? Nah, he wasn't. His brother was Lucas. How old is Teo? Isn't he 26? Let me search. 26 or 27. He is 27. Just turned 27. So yeah, we get about 6 years of him. It's very difficult not to choose a top Serie A defender. I mean, if we could, even though it's definitely not going to happen, Bastoni or Buongiorno. Bastoni or Buongiorno or Tayat. Don't know if he's playing in Serie A anymore, but the Belgian defender Tayat probably wouldn't start, but he'd be definitely good cover for a 3-back. What will happen to Shaw, Malacia when you left back? Listen, I know I just said not to criticise players unjustly, but Shaw, I think we probably need to not move him on, but forget about him or use him as centre-back cover because he's too injury prone. Doesn't matter how good you are, if you're not playing, then you're not playing. Davies was out for 8 weeks with a heart issue after contracting COVID and has had a lot of muscle injuries. Teo Hernandez it is. Di Maria, Memphis, Falcao are the example. Yeah, there we go. Maguire back in training. Yeah, that is more news. Maguire and Lisandro Martinez are back in training. It has been confirmed by... Let me just get that. Breaking news. I don't even know who it's been confirmed by. Lol Peps had to come out and say he's not self-harming. Obviously, apologise for a poor joke. He definitely had a scrap. Someone beat him up. Someone beat him up in the dressing room. Or he fought someone in the dressing room. I think those days selfish player is over. The modern system like Amorim requires everyone to contribute, especially if you are playing as a winger. Your job is to help your striker. Your mouth is not self. And that's the thing. Amorim's system is tailored towards you've got the 3, you've got the 4, and then you've got the 3. This is the striker. Everybody is there to create for the striker so it can be put on a plate, so we can slam it top bins, so we can tap it in from inside the 6-yard box, so we can win the game. And I don't think there's a problem. I actually don't see a problem with that. Strikers are there to score the goals. When you see people run, I know, like, cool, Vincent Kompany against Leicester, he slammed it top bins. But at Manchester United, the amount of long shots we take, the amount of times we don't put the ball on the edge of the box, the amount of times, I know Amat's been very good, or Garnacho's might have been very good, but the amount of times that we'll get the ball, someone will dribble past like 2 players, and in their head they're like, oh my God, I'm about to score a screamer. I'm about to score a goal of the season. I'm about to do this and that. What they could do, just lay it off. Lay it off for a Bruno. Lay it off for a Højlund and he can actually tap it in. But instead, they think, yeah, I'm about to wrap it top bins. I'm about to beat another 3 guys. And then we lose the ball and then it's just like, what was the point in that? The amount of times that happens at Manchester United, I think you could blame it on the impetuousness of the youth. I think you could blame it on the fact that they are too selfish. I think you can blame it on the fact that it's not the right mix of players. I think, yeah, we have a very good squad. But sometimes it might... Too many cooks? Is it too many cooks ruin a dish, or like too many ingredients ruin a dish? If you have too many of the same type of player, if you have too many good players, sometimes it don't work. Sometimes you need the guys to just kind of for the morale. Sometimes you need the guy to be okay with sitting on the bench. We don't seem to have those players. Everyone just seems to be so self-centered, in my opinion, not because of their personality. I don't keep up with football players off the pitch, but I'm talking about what I see on the pitch. It's all, I beat one guy, let me shoot. I did this, let me do this. Let me do this instead of I beat one guy. Højlund is actually free in the middle. I'm going to put it across for him and he's going to tap it in. We'll just slam a ball and it will go wide or it'll go over. It'll be like, what are you doing? We don't think... we just don't think, Ryan. I think that's a combination of too many of the similar type of player. Imagine playing with Messi and Ronaldo, scoring in an FA Cup final, winning the Copa America and getting cooked by Faz. That's the dream. I hate Faz. I actually hate Faz. They should do like a YouTube, a football YouTube box. I'll thump him up. Yamal is an anomaly because Barca. Yeah, I don't ever really speak about Yamal. He's fake. He scored FA Youth Cup final. He's a big game. Look, Garnacho is a big game player. He is. He just is. He does produce moments, but recently he's not been in the best of form. And can that be down to confidence? Sometimes players are just out of form, and it's fine. We know what Garnacho's capable of. Let's not sit and pretend like we weren't all singing his praises when he scored in the FA Cup final, when he put that Bicey top bins, when he scored in the FA Cup against Fulham, when he was coming through the team, everyone was on his willy. It was just, let's not pretend like no one was doing all of that. Garnacho is a very good young player. He's young. These things happen. He's not reached that level of consistency yet, but he will. We just need to lay off him a little bit. People need to chill out. The last player La Masia produced that was able to function outside of Barca's system is probably Fabregas. Good point. Good, yeah, that's a good point, to be fair. We don't need Gyökeres. We should promote Chido. We need 3 strikers, and I think at some point Xerxes will leave, to be honest. I think Mount suits the system as... Yeah, Mount does definitely suit the system. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many cooks spoil the broth. That's it. Mount suits both Ten Hag and Amorim's system. Unfortunately, he's made of glass. We can't rely on a player who can't stay healthy most of the season. I actually just dribbled. Did I just dribble? I think I didn't dribble. Thank God. Garnacho has 7 goals and 4 assists in 19 game season. He's doing okay. He just needs to work on consistency and having more tools than pace and bleached hair to beat people. Lol. Yeah, he just needs to work on the consistency. That's what I'm saying. He's been one of our more effective, whether or not you think he's been one of our better players this season, he's been one of the more effective players this season in terms of his actual output. Which left wing back do you think we will sign? Davies. Which left wing back do you think, or do I want us to sign? Teo Hernandez. If Madrid offer to swap Garnacho for Gula, would you take it? 100%. 100%. That's not me saying Garnacho's dead. That's not me saying I don't like Garnacho. That's just me saying under Amorim, having Gula... Look, Fernandez isn't going to be here forever, innit? Genuinely, we've probably got about 3 years left. A sensible 3 years, where if Bruno Fernandes is still producing at the top level. After that, we don't have anyone. I know we have youth players, but I'm not going to hang my hopes on a 16 or 17-year-old that we've never actually seen play senior football yet. I'm hoping by then, I'm going off the fact that I think Amorim will still be here in 3 years because I want it to be successful. You have Amad Diallo, who's definitely going to be here in 3 years, playing in the 10 position. One of the 2 10 positions behind the striker. You then could potentially also have Arda Güler in another 10 position. Behind a prolific striker. By then it might be Højlund. He might be one of the better strikers in the world. It might be Gyökeres. Whoever it is going to be a bully, big, fast, clinical striker feeding off the elite service that Amad and Gula might be providing him. I would 100%, 100% swap Garnacho for Arda Güler. 100%. And I don't think, I don't have any shame in saying that, actually. I would 100% do that. But speaking about the strikers, this is the last topic which I will be speaking about on this stream this morning. We can get far more, I think, in 3 years out of Bruno. Basically, all sports science since the 90s has come out of Portugal, and you can see it in players like Dalot, Ronaldo, Bruno. Yeah, true. I think Bruno needs a sub because he's not on his A game this season. I think, he definitely does need a backup, and I think the backup is Mount. But unfortunately, Mount is made of glass, as Nubis Kubis says. I mean, I can never say his name. Ibrahimov. Okay. Amir Ibrahimov and Jack Fletcher have the potential. Yeah, I know they have the potential. I'm not going to say names because I haven't played senior football yet. First team senior football. Morning. So happy Martinez and Maguire are back. More centre backs about 100%. Morning, Ronnie. Højlund isn't good enough to be our striker long term. We definitely didn't need Ivan Toney. Højlund is good enough to be our striker long term. He is a clinical striker, whether you like it or not. The stats back that. We just don't feed him. He just doesn't get service. He actually just doesn't get... A couple of games ago, I think he'd had 3 shots or 1 shot the whole season. But he doesn't get service. Whereas Garnacho and Rashford had like 40 something combined. Højlund doesn't get service. I cannot believe Amadou Onana was on the market and we never hoovered him up. I think we tried. I actually think we tried. Can't remember what happened, but yeah. According to Plettygoal and Sky Sports Denmark, again, I believe it's Denmark, just in, 4 strikers are currently on Manchester United's list and being discussed. Omar Marmoush, currently playing for Frankfurt. He's having a very, very good season in the Bundesliga. Randall Kolo Muani, his shot got saved in the World Cup final. Decent. I don't think he's all that, to be honest. Victor Boniface, invincible striker from last season, plays for Leverkusen. Better on the ball than you'd probably think. Good striker. And Victor Osimhen. Honestly, out of all of them, I take Osimhen. I'd just take Osimhen. He's a clinical striker who is going to play on the last shoulder, on the shoulder of the last man. Good in the air, very, very fast, clinical, good with both feet. And I don't know how to describe this, yeah. You know, some strikers, when they shoot, the ball striking, the way they put their foot through a ball, like Gyökeres slams it. He slams it. Like, most of the time it goes in. But he's like a mix of lace and inset, just on that sweet spot. So is Osimhen. He uses toe punt. Any way he gets the ball into the goal, he will get the ball into the goal. I've seen him toe punt against Tottenham, actually. Out of all of them, I definitely take Victor Osimhen. Whether or not we can get a good deal for him at a decent price, I'm not sure. Because he is still one of the better strikers in the world. I know he's had a fallout with Napoli, which is why he's at Galatasaray right now. But I definitely take him. Højlund is good enough. He's rapid as well as how Amorim just needs to slap the selfishness out of players. 100, yeah, exactly. Højlund just doesn't get the service. I don't know where this narrative that Højlund isn't good actually comes from. Just take 10 seconds and look at the stats. Look at his conversion rates. He had a higher conversion rate than Erling Haaland. He just had like 400 less shots. Work it out. Napoli won't drop that price tag. Impossible to pay 150 mil. Do a loan then. Just do a loan. Osimhen is by far the best striker there. You just worry about his motives, character. He wanted Saudi money. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Who wouldn't want the Saudi money? Who doesn't want 450k tax-free a week? Be realistic. Like, be realistic. I know it's all good. We can sit here and be like, you need to play for the badge. You forget about the money. Sit on 90k a week and not 500k for 2 years. If I was a footballer playing for a team that I clearly didn't grow up supporting, he obviously didn't grow up supporting Napoli or Galatasaray. He's not playing for his boyhood club. Yeah. And I'm earning 100k a week. If a team in Saudi came to me and said, we will literally give you 550k a week tax-free money, I'm there. I'll learn how to teleport because I will go there. I'm there. Are you silly? 500k a week? The money in Saudi is crazy. It's tax-free. You go there for a couple years. You do have to think about other stuff other than football, family. You don't know. He might have people back home who want to send money. He might be setting stuff up. I don't hate players that go to Saudi. In fact, I applaud them for actually doing it. It's the same way players went to China. They were getting stupid money as well. Okay. Football is about money. 90% of footballers become footballers because of the money. Look at the Brazilians that came out and spoke about the Chinese league. Yeah. Even Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves said the money was the reason he went to Saudi. Oscar said the reason he went to China was because of the money, so he could help his family. A lot of football players come from very, very deprived backgrounds. A lot of them. When they have the opportunity to go and earn 400, 500k a week, and they can keep all of it, in a heartbeat, I'd go. In a heartbeat, they would go. I don't think it says anything about his motives. He could have gone Saudi, but he didn't. He's actually in Turkey right now. Osimhen is the one, yeah. I think Victor Osimhen is a better because here in Nigeria, we've not seen Victor Boniface. Is it Boniface or Boniface, by the way, Jerry, if you're from Nigeria? Anton, strikers need to be good at least two of the main three roles: in transition, in the box, hold up play. Is Rasmus even doing two? Rasmus, okay. This is another thing which I want to dispel. Rasmus Højlund is good at taking the ball. Okay, when he gets it right, when he's... Okay, his back's to goal. The ball comes to him, whether or not he takes it on his chest or his foot. If he stops holding... If he just let go of the defender, just actually let go of him. Because when he does, he is a good dribbler. He's good with the ball at his feet. All he does, he just holds on too much. He's just holding on to these defenders too much. Just let go of these defenders. Because we've seen it so many times. We've seen him get the ball, hold it up, turn, and then play a pass. He's actually good. He's genuinely actually good at that. I don't know who was telling him to keep holding on to these defenders, but it wasn't the way. He is also good in the box. He just doesn't get the ball in the box. He's good at, he is genuinely good at all three of those things. It's just when he does get the ball, he gives it off to a player. He might give it off to Garnacho or Rashford. He just never gets it back. He just never gets it back. I could see us getting two midfielders in the summer with Eriksen is leaving. He is leaving at the end of the season. It's not likely he is. And I hope Casemiro leaves as well, because this is probably the last season we could recoup a bit of money, especially if he does well in Amorim's system. I'd 100% go to Saudi and join OPEC. What's OPEC? I don't know if that's... I don't really know much about Saudi teams. Step 6 CDM. I'd go to the Pro League. Dunk on Ronaldo. That's called a smart... It is called a smart business decision. I don't understand why people get onto players and say it says stuff about their character. Yes, it's a good about their character. It suggests that they are intelligent. It suggests that they are thinking about life after football. Spending 2 years in Saudi earning 500k a week. I swear to God, two months worth of wages keeps you going for the rest of the 2 years. And then the rest of those 2 years' wages, that's your retirement fund. Like, players are making smart... Ivan Toney's done. Like, he's done. He's made it. Ivan Toney's made it. Made it. Vardy should offer himself to Saudi for a couple years. It's Boniface, like the face. Okay. Rasmus lets the ball bounce too much and looks like a girl in the club grinding up on... See, this is the thing. I know it's easy to remember when people make mistakes, but we also have to acknowledge when they do the right things. Rasmus is good at hold up. He just needs to stop holding on to these defenders. I thought Højlund did really well when he... Yeah, he did. He is a good player. Højlund barely gets any balls as a striker. Even if United have Haaland, Gyökeres or Osimhen, none of them is going to score any goal. Exactly, and that's why I go back to the point I made right at the beginning. It would be no use getting in a striker right now. Getting in one of these strikers right now. Because they're not getting the service. And when they do start to get the service, we will see the benefits that having a striker like Højlund... Look, something might click in January. Something might click in January. We might turn a corner. Højlund is producing the same performances as Gyökeres. We might not even need to go and get Gyökeres. We might have Gyökeres at the club already because Højlund is here. They are quite similar players in terms of their physicality, their speed, the way they strike the ball, the way they dribble with the ball. They are very similar players. Højlund is just a very young and raw version of Gyökeres. If it does work, and Højlund does become a player that Gyökeres is and has been this season at Sporting, we don't need to go and get a Gyökeres. We can get rid of a Xerxes because they're very different players, or demote Xerxes to an attacking midfield position, promote Chido and go and get another striker. Maybe not. You probably wouldn't have for one striker position Gyökeres and Højlund. I can't see that happening if Højlund does produce it. I would go and get someone like a Marmoush or a Kola Mwani. I'd really love to see Vitinha in a Man United jersey. Is that the one that plays for PSG? Remember, last season Højlund scored 5 successful PL games because Ten Hag told the players to feed him the ball to him. After he returned from injury, those greedy wingers reverted back to selfish ways, 100%. A 37-year-old Ronaldo managed to score a lot of goals with these players. Rasmus isn't good enough at receiving. Don't compare Rasmus to Ronaldo. Can't compare Rasmus to Ronaldo. I don't care who is the striker. if you're playing in a team with Ronaldo, the ball will get to Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo. It's just Ronaldo. And they're completely different players. Ronaldo was scoring long shots. Ronaldo was scoring pens. Ronaldo scored a couple free kicks. Rashford doesn't take pens. He doesn't take long shots. He doesn't take free kicks. Plus, Ronaldo was actually getting service. Because it's Ronaldo. You think Garnacho isn't going to pass it to Ronaldo? You think Rashford isn't going to pass it to Ronaldo? When Rashford's playing and Ronaldo's there, it's like, Ronaldo, I'm making sure I get him the ball. When Højlund's there, it's like, I'm Rashford. You haven't scored more goals than me. All of those things come into it. It's not a good mentality to have, but we should go live every morning. Yeah, we'll be going live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. and then 7 p.m. With the team, we're not playing as a team. With the team, we're not playing as a team. It's about who can get goals for himself. I like Garnacho, but he can be selfish. Yeah, 100%. 100%. If you guys do have any more questions, make sure to ask me in the comment section down below. But the episode is coming to an end. I do actually have a job and I do need to work. Believe it or not. Rasmus is also bloody dreadful at defending corners and free kicks. Drives me crazy how ineffective a 6'3" player is at defending our box. Yeah, there are a lot of things that he does need to improve on, but the genuine service that he gets needs to be improved on. I'd imagine Nubis is speaking to you Bath Time, so you are 100% correct. Congratulations there. I haven't said it this episode, but I will say it at the end. If you haven't already, make sure you do leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button. If you haven't, we will be back, and we are already back with 2 daily streams. Again, one at 11 a.m. with myself, Anton, and one at 7 p.m. with a different host who will introduce himself later. Make sure you do follow myself on Twitter, or X as it is called now, at Anton Brooks AMB, and follow MUFC MPB at MUFC MPB over on Twitter for all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I do play and stream Football Manager as well. I do post about it on Twitter. So if you are interested in that, again, make sure you follow me at Anton Brooks AMB. But again, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest news, Manchester United news and transfer news, make sure you follow at MUFC MPB over on X. Just one last comment. Garnacho, Højlund and Xerxes should be sold. A left wing back and a striker is almost a must get, but also 1 or 2 attacking midfielders that are monsters at pressing. I'd pick him over Xerxes though. I've never seen a player be more disliked so quickly by match-going fans since maybe Alan Smith or Owen. No, you, Anton. Oh, thank you, Nubis. I appreciate that. Big up, Jarl. Pep's gone on Twitter for the first time in 5 years. Say he's not self-harming. One of his players, yeah, he definitely got beaten up. But I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. And I hope you guys have a good day. Remember, we have another stream at 7 p.m. with a different presenter tonight, so make sure you tune into that. I want to see you guys there, showing him support as well.